Arrow Affliction was designed and created with this new feel, like this MTV generation feel, reality, drama, intensity, all these feelings that you have when you think about going on a hunt and moving and shaking it and going after something and making sure we get close to make the shot. Sometimes we don't get the shot, but it's still, you feel that raw passion, that emotion, whether it be up or down or good, bad, ugly, whatever.
And that is a giant antelope. A giant antelope.
This is Arrow Affliction. This is the way we want to see it. Training is in session. Let's train for antelope hunting. In this prairie dog town, we'll put up the double bull in the middle. That way, no matter what hole the prairie dog comes out of, we've got to move, open the windows, and shoot these things. And we've only got a short time to do it because they don't like to stick around and they don't like us invading their space. But it's perfect training for antelope.
All right, everybody, this is Arrow Affliction. This is the training segment. The training segment for the antelope. We're going on an antelope hunt. We're gonna use some decoys and stuff. But there's a wheat field that we're gonna go try to get some prairie dogs in. So we're gonna do some training on some prairie dogs. So that we're ready to go for the antelope. Enjoy this. So if I can almost hit 80-yard prairie dogs, the antelopes won't be in trouble.
I'm in business. When it comes to shooting these prairie dogs, I may not have it today, but the antelope are a lot bigger and they're just perfect practice. Antelope are crazy, they're fast, and they're wily, and I don't know much about them, but I do know that I'm gonna be ready by shooting at all these prairie dogs for when the time comes I need to make the shot. All right, this whole decoy thing was like my brainchild. I've sat on water holes, I've sat on fence crossings, I've sat behind a hay bale with one decoy. I've tried to stalk them. Nothing's worked, nothing. But every time I see these antelope, they're hanging out over here in this part of the field, or they're hanging out in this part of the field. I want them right up close and personal with me. So the only thing of doing this is, let's get 4, 5, 6 decoys, make them to where they look like they're just being social, make them all does, all girls, and the boys will come. It's like that in every single species out there. How come we can't do it with antelope? The Music Mayhem video is pretty much all the cool stuff. Every week we find more cool stuff that either happened on a trip or happened when we're on the road or just happened around the house. I mean, just crazy cool stuff that we've got to find someplace to put it in the show, and here it is. That one was cool.
Associates. I keep appearances below the line of minimum. Lay into them, get into them, but only for an interim. Intent to purposes of motivate your own affairs. You hope nobody notices, hope nobody cares. Cause everybody is in no something depth. You gotta find out who, you gotta find out who and what it is. I know you feel me right now, cause everybody is in no something depth. You gotta find out who and what it is.
I just landed on a cactus.
You gotta find out who and what it is. You know me, well me, I gotta find out what it is. Cause everybody out who is in no something else. Cause everybody is in no something else. You gotta find out who and what it is.
Dude, it's in inches. Are they watching them? You did see it land?
There'll be no change of heart. There'll be no grand finale.
Okay. Now let me try to explain this decoy thing to y'all. The decoy thing comes from these antelope being social. And I don't know if it has to do with I haven't experienced a lot with them, but one thing that kept coming back to my mind is they were always in groups. Always in groups. And I would try to find a decoy, and you know, there's some silhouette decoys out there that are real good. We're gonna pick up some whitetail decoys. I want a non-threatening position as a feeder or as a bedded animal, and only 1 or 2 alert ones. And I've got some targets in the backyard that are all beat up that are whitetails, but we're gonna paint those up too. We're taking deer decoys and painting them up to simulate antelope. We got white, black, and a little bit of a tannish brown. We're gonna decoy antelope using the duck and goose method, which means we're gonna use about a half dozen of them, put out in either in the field or around a water hole, and we're gonna try to confuse these bucks into running in and checking out this whole big group of does. You wanna see that big white patch right on their butt. We paint these decoys up, try to get a good night's sleep, and be up to set up the decoys in the morning, in the dark, before the antelope know what's going on.
Everything that you read, don't believe. Everything that you read, don't believe. Everything that you read.
We've got like, let me see, 5 decoys out for antelope. We're in a blind in the middle of South Dakota. We're watching about 20 antelope at less than 300 yards. We set up in the dark. We set them up just like we're duck hunting back home in Illinois. We came up with this idea. We took deer decoys, we painted them up.
We got them spread out all the way around us. We got them in close. We're hunting very low pressure goats. This is awesome. I gotta get painted up. All right, everybody, let's hunt antelope. There's some bucks out there chasing right now. There's a couple good bucks in there. A couple real good bucks in there. We are trying to hunt antelope like we hunt ducks and geese. This is Arrow Affliction, and this is the duck hunting show for antelope. Here they come, they're coming this way. He's coming right now.
Man.
That is the first goat in this morning. That is a beautiful South Dakota antelope. We just shot him at 27 yards. The first one that's looked at the decoys ran right up here. He's smoked, baby. Whew. I have an Arrow Affliction, and that is a rutting hard South Dakota pronghorn.
So we're in the blind, we set the decoys up and everything in the dark, set on this high point in this field, so anything coming within 300 yards of us on 3 or 4 sides are gonna be able to see the decoys and hopefully come to them. And next thing I know, I look out and there is a pronghorn. It's a mature buck, it's a heavy buck. I've gotta pull down this blind because I've gotta make sure that I'm able to get this shot.
Man.
So he ducks just a little bit. I hit him square dead in that 12 ring, right where that brown and white hit, right in that little corner. They say with a rifle, that's where you put it and they drop them. Well, I didn't know I could do it with a big rage. I hit him square dead, booyah, he is down. My first antelope is on the ground by 8 o'clock. He's on the ground, we're collecting our stuff, and I still have a doe tag, and I look up and here comes 2 bucks over the hill, coming from the same direction he was coming from. Those must be satellite bucks, and they're on their way. They're just hanging out. They're trying to get the does to move and go with them or herd them up. They can't decide what they want to do. And I looked past them, and here comes another buck, and he's even bigger than the one I shot. This buck, this big buck, even bigger than the one I shot, comes all the way across from the other side of the road. That's how well these decoys are working. So I look past the blind and I just kept catching a little bit of movement, and there's a buck with a doe and they're headed right toward us from the opposite direction. This doe is like 30 yards and she's looking and I'm ready and she's trying to figure out the decoys. I come to full draw and let her have it.
And they will give you wings, get fat and sloppy, look karate, bada boom, bada bang. So bring your hustle if you're coming, hurry, call me collect. You got a nickel, hustle, pony show
and it'll make a perfect, beautiful mount right there with my first antelope ever.
Why you're singing the blues, a losing mission in addition to the time that I spent. But as it is and as it was, I guess I got what you get. But as it is, as it was, yo, I got what you get, so what you get. But as it is, as it was, yo, I got what you get, so what you get.
She runs down about 85 yards, maybe 100 yards, stands there and just hits the ground like a ton of bricks, and I have two tags full in South Dakota, my first morning, an hour and a half into my hunt.
Imagine if your brother had died when you were young and both the parents kept his room exactly as it was. I see the rules of duck and most of the blinds were always drawn. Otherwise, something near was always hanging on and on and on. I've been gone, still a moment all alone. I love the legal group behind it, just a searching on my own throughout a song without the shoulder. Just so much I need to know. Show me the tiny little room where he died upon his stone, fat and alone. But as it is, as it was, I guess I got what you get. So what you get? So what you get, huh? Come on!
Guys, keep that a secret. We didn't really mean to buy lots of decoys and put them out. We'll just keep killing big old giant goats.
When he comes, he'll be mixed up, break it down with a couple loaded guns for fun. but I don't mind, I don't mind.
Unbelievable how well these things work. That's like the 7th goat in to less than 20 yards. They keep getting closer and closer and closer and closer to us. That's a little bitty, I guess you'd call it a buttonlope. Slow buttonlope. That's a live decoy now because he's gonna hang out. He's amongst friends here. We've got, look, right now from where we're at is we've got one of the decoys, one off to the left up here. This on the silhouette. We've got 4 does down here. We've got a smaller buck. About 250 yards away, we got 2 other bucks bedded up here by the telephone poles. And then we've got a big buck and a doe bedded over by this other telephone pole about 275 away. We're just waiting for that magical buck to show up. Just like this old boy that I used to hunt with in New Mexico once. He said, I'm looking for a fancy buck. So today, I'm looking for a fancy antelope buck.
Oh. So I give the experiment a complete pass. I'm talking A+. It was definitely worth buying the paint, getting all the stuff together, putting all the decoys in the truck, doing all the stuff we had to do to come up with this plan. Because the first half hour of the hunt, I've got a big buck down, I've got 4 other ones prancing around the decoys, I've got my doe tag filled, the coolers are gonna be filled in the back of the Dodge on the way home, and the only thing I can think of is, will it work twice? I've got a North Dakota buck tag, and it's on.
We got 5 decoys out. They're antelope decoys, but they're decoys that we painted from whitetail doe decoys. So they're pretty cool. We did them ourselves. We're hunting, everybody. This Arrow Affliction.
Now you know that I know how to bump every hole in the wall, y'all. Did you get your phone call? Most of y'all near me thought it was tall. I'm getting flipped like a dipstick reel on the black ice. Did you think twice? Home slice game anywhere. Satisfied, got beer.
He's in our face.
Yeah, laughable. Man, don't see those too many coming close. Cause touch what I never touched before. See what I never seen before. Woke up and seen the sun sky high. Circulate like a Sunday paper.
The bottom line is we had antelope in and out all day long. It is now 12 o'clock, 12:15, and all of a sudden, I look to my left and I see horns and I see a body. Off to our left, this big doe breaks loose. And I'm trying to get situated and get the blind open, and they're on a mission. They're running to our left, and there's 3 does. There's the big buck, and he looks square dead right at me as I'm moving the blind. And I get to full draw, and the buck is freaking out. He's on pins and needles, and just as he gets ready to slow down, I'm gonna give it to him, boom, he just takes off. Just when we think all hope has failed, everything that we've got on this deal, I've already given up and thought this buck was left the country because of how spooky he was, he stops.
All day long. You guys, we've been waiting all day long for that. And that is a giant antelope. A giant antelope. Oh my Lord, look at the mast on this thing. There is no goat I've ever seen that's had mast like this. Oh my Lord. Giant goat.
Wooden arrows, big giant rabbit tip on the front, big rubber end. Try to shoot the middle out of this one.
Puller.
We gonna do what they say can't be done. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch your bandit run.
Man, I knew I was gonna be that's a slow arrow.
So never mind them breaks. Let it all hang out, cause we got a run to make. Them boys are thirsty in Atlanta, and there's beer in Texarkana, and we'll bring it back no matter what it takes. Real pretty now. Eastbound down, loaded up and trucking. We gonna do what they say can be done. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch your bandit run. Well, Smokey's got the hands on. He's all on your trail. He ain't gonna rest till you're in jail. You got to dodge him, you got to duck him, you got to keep that diesel trucking. You gotta put that hammer down and give it hell. Eastbound down, load it up and trucking. We gonna do what they say can't be done. No, we got a long way to go and a short time to get there. And I'm east